Welcome to Movies and More with Stacy Hovis and John Brandon. Every week, Stacy and John come to you with the latest movies in the marketplace. Media experts Stacy and John take you to the movies and tell you what's hot and what's not in the media world. Stacy and John host conversations about the topics in the films. Their mission is to guide you through the media world. Okay, audience, here's Stacy and John.
Hello and welcome to Movies and More. John Brandon is on assignment. And before we get started today, I wanted to bring our listeners up to speed on something that I've had a number of questions about. I'm in the Screenwriters Guild of America, who, as you may or may not know, went on strike at 12 a.m. West Coast time today. And the entire union is going to be picketing this afternoon at the various studios and production offices throughout Los Angeles. And my understanding is I think they're going to have picket lines in Atlanta, Georgia as well. Briefly, what that's all about, and I hope we understand, it's like any type of labor negotiation. You have management, which is the production companies or the studios, and then you have labor, which are the writers and the assistants that produce the content that make the various things that we see on television or on the big screen. What the union is asking for is an increase in minimum Screenwriters Guild levels. Right now, depending upon what genre of production you're involved in, whether it's film or television, there's a big contract that the Screenwriters Guild signs off on with the producers and the studios. I think the last strike was back in, I believe it was 2007. And as a result of that, they put together a contract that, frankly, it looks like a small town phone book. I mean, there's more legal stuff than you can imagine. So what's happened is that there were increases throughout the years to reflect inflation. And of course, anybody that's gone to the grocery store knows that everything is costing higher. But for some reason, the studios and the producers don't seem to think that it affects writers, which, I mean, we're like anybody else. You know, we have to make a living too. So the thing is that with the streaming market, which has exploded, and the demand is just so incredibly great, and there is a demand for what we do. We write, we create content, whether it's sports shows or entertainment or just whatever it is. And we think that basically that unless we take a stand now with the producers and the studios, that going forward that we might get to a point to where we won't be able to have our salaries or our fees adjusted like everyone else in the country. So I had been asked probably 2 weeks prior to this what I thought as far as whether or not we're going to go on strike or not. And what I can tell you is this. Our standard across the board was, well, it's 50-50, didn't know, whatever. Well, the truth was we were pretty certain that management was going to balk at what we were asking for, and it just came to pass. Now, the obvious question that I was asked about 2 or 3 times this morning was, well, how long do I think the strike will last? Well, I can tell you that there was one back in the 90s that went on for several months. So how will this affect the average moviegoer or television viewer or whatever? The simple reality is that without writers, the production mill pretty much comes to a halt. So I hope that they come to their senses and they realize, and I'm talking about management, I hope they realize that, we're not asking for the world. We just want a fair shake up of the whole thing. So anyway, enough about that. Well, folks, today we have a very, very special guest, and it's a gentleman that I've known for a while. And this is a man that has an interesting career. And if y'all listened to our show last week, we had Cindy Villarreal, who was a NFL cheerleader, and she went on to become a film producer and director, and kind of just a sheer coincidence. I mean, everybody thought we planned this, but I'm telling you, it was just sheer, totally serendipity that we have this gentleman on the air today with us. He played two professional sports, professional baseball and football. He had a tremendous amateur background in those two sports in college and high school, and he has transitioned from sports, from professional sports, to where now he's a very recognizable actor, and he also does voiceover commercials and so forth. So I'm going to let him tell you pretty much about his background. Folks, so let's welcome Kenny Ray Powell to our show. Kenny, welcome to Movies and More.
Good morning and good afternoon on your end.
Yes, it is. Well, it's after 12 for sure. Now, just to be clear, Kenny is he's out in Los Angeles. And, Kenny, I think what we'll do is we'll start off by talking about your kind of background that led you to where you eventually got into professional sports. So can you kind of share with us your growth from amateur to the two professional sports that you got involved with? Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Oh yeah, I'll break it down. I'm born and raised in Long Beach, California. I went to Long Beach Poly High School. Well, it's a very popular high school for a lot of players. Hall of Famer Tony Gwynn went there. Mm-hmm. We have a host of NFL players. We probably had one of the top schools for the NFL. And baseball as well. So a lot of major league players, a lot of NBA players come out of that school. How I got started is Tony Gwynn, his father was actually my football coach. I met him when I was probably about 8 years old.
Wow.
So I got a long history with Tony Gwynn. His brother used to teach me when I was in elementary school. His dad coached me on the football field. And Tony Gwynn as he was growing up in his career, it all kind of connected. I played on this Pop Warner team, and actually the man taught me how to coach. I mean, how to catch a football. I was dropping balls, but like I said, he was the one that guided me into football at a young age. My dad brought me up in baseball, but he was the football guy. So at the end of the day, I started off playing all sports. I played every sport, you name it. I ran track. I did everything. I was one of those generational talents that actually got a chance to, hone his skills. I was a quite large kid when I was younger. So, but at the end of the day, it took will and an opportunity of having great people around me to help me. I had the talent, but I needed some good people around me.
Sure.
And it started off with those guys.
Right. Well, I think all of us think back. I saw the sign on a back of a bus the other day, and it said, "If you can read this, you got a teacher to thank." And I guess in your case, if you can catch a baseball or football, you've got some terrific coaches in your background to thank without any question.
You're 100% right, because like I said, along the level, and as I tell my journey, a lot of it has to do with me, but it has a lot of other people that, poured into me and gave me an opportunity. Without anything, you have to have opportunity. I had to have the will and I had to partner in, but it took some coaches to be able to kind of put their hands on you and trust, that this kid would not let him down, and I didn't want to let the team down. So I had some great coaches along the way that taught me how to be a man, to learn me to be a leader of men, so that's the most important thing in my life that I take on. You won't hear me say a lot about me, but I can tell you a lot of people that really actually coached me and gave me guidance along the way.
Right.
So,
right.
So that's one thing.
Right. Well, what I can tell you is that in my background, I was an amateur coach for baseball from Pee Wees all the way to American Legion, and also amateur wrestling, junior AAU, and both uh, Greco-Roman, freestyle, and also high school boy wrestling. And uh, I always remembered when I was young and I had a baseball coach. And at the end of the season, he said, "Look, if you're grateful or you're glad that I was here, you guys are going to grow up to be men someday. And maybe the opportunity will come along or someone will ask you to become a coach or to help out in amateur sports. And if you want to thank me, do that thing at that time." And I never forgot that, and that kind of keeps that mojo going, if you will. I mean, it's just it's an older person helping a younger person, and that's what Mo's good guys. So God bless coaches. I mean, I'm not just saying that because I was one, but but obviously you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a very big impact, and as a child, going into the business and learning the business of football all the way at each level, it makes you understand that the coaches, they're the guide to everything what you're trying to do.
Right.
So if they can teach it and they're teaching it and you can grasp it, it's the most important thing. I think when we forget about parents, we forget about the people that support you. When you make it, everybody says, "Oh, you made it." But the thing is, we forget about those people that
paid the dues for you.
They paid it for you.
Yep.
And I'm a very stickler about that. Not about myself personally, but it's about the people that taught me. And without those guys, I don't think I'll get an opportunity.
Right.
I wouldn't have got it. Just like you were a coach.
Yep.
That's the part of the relationship that you have to respect your coaches and respect, what they're teaching, because they don't have to teach you. They don't have to teach you anything.
No.
If you don't want to be a willing participant, they can get you out of here and get the next man up. That's just the way it is.
That's exactly right. Well, I tell you, one of the greatest moments of my life was the first time somebody come up to me and referred to me as coach. I thought, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I have evolved. I mean, it was a tremendous honor. I mean, I just felt so incredibly lucky to be in that position. And of course, it was my son that was in baseball, and then he wrestled, in little league and all the way through high school and then to college. And like I said, there were a lot of us in our family that did that. I think we had collectively 6 state champions. 3, I think, runner-ups, a third and a fourth. So I mean, we did pretty good as a family, but we all participated in the giving back of the aspect of the coaching. And that's what really it's all about. Listen, moving on, the 2 sports that you were in, professional baseball, and you did the football thing. Talk to us about how you kind of evolved from the collegiate sports into those professional sports. And kind of like, I guess it was pretty much a kind of a culture shock from amateur to professional. And I don't suppose people always get what that is. So explain that a little bit, Kenny, if you will.
Okay, absolutely. Well, I can say it this way. The amateur side was the best part because everybody's playing for the will of the game. Everybody's friends. Once you get to the professional ranks, it's business. Everything's business. I don't care if you're from baseball standpoint, if you're on a roster, you're a baseball roster, you're getting multi-million dollars worth of check. The biggest check is always the one that they keep around because, they already got money invested in you. So that's what you have to learn when you jump from professional sports from amateur to professional sports, because it's a guaranteed contract. Whoever has that guaranteed contract, and in baseball, 40-man roster, they are going to play. That's just the way it is. That's the rules. That's the way it works. And then they have to pull somebody off the 40-man roster to put you on the 40-man roster. So somebody's going to lose a job ultimately. That's just the way the business works. So in football, it's the same thing. You have the 50, 53, 54-man roster, and you got practice squad guys. Injury is part of the game. You're going to benefit off somebody's injury. It's just the way it is. But you just have to understand what the, not say politics, but the protocol of sports. You got to understand exactly what you're getting into and understand the business side first. Before playing baseball, when you play as an amateur, it's just playing, you're playing. But it's a business side to the professional ranks.
Right. Well, now obviously you played the two sports, the baseball and football. I'm going to ask you a question, which is kind of paramount to like, which one of your kids do you like the best? Which one of the sports did you most enjoy? And I know there were different aspects of both, but I mean, did you lean towards one or the other if you had a preference? And why was
If
that?
I had a preference, the preference was, well, baseball is longevity. So baseball is a family sport. You know, you're going to be in a town for 4 days. You're going to play 4-game road trips. You're going on a 16-day road trip. Baseball is extended. You don't wear a helmet. You got a hat on your head. Everybody's going to recognize you as a baseball player. It's a great game. It's a family game. You know, football is more of a selfish game. You know, I could tell you that now that, you know, sitting on the roster, it's a lot of competing in football versus baseball. They'll help you more in baseball than they will help you in football. That's just a little difference.
Right.
Baseball is a game that is going to play for longevity. So you're going to see these guys face for 5, 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Football career is only going to last you probably about 3 years. The best you can get is 3 years if you can stay healthy.
Right.
A lot of guys don't make it to that level.
Sure. Well, we should tell our viewers. First off, you're a big guy, 6'8". Do I have that correct, Kenny? That's how tall you are?
Correct.
Right. Okay. Now, as I was reading your bio, and actually before we went on the air, I asked you this, but I think it's worth repeating again. I said, you know, my God, here's a guy that's, I mean, like a super athlete. He's 6'8", and why did you never play, you know, basketball? And it's like when you explained it, I thought, Dad, what are you nuts? Well, in high school, you had football that ran into kind of like, you know, that thing into the basketball season a little bit, and then you had baseball. So you could really only honestly play two sports in any given year, and so you just decided that the football and the baseball thing made more sense going forward. That was pretty much the reason, right?
Correct. And then another reason was the basketball team that I went to wasn't any good. So I didn't want to play on a basketball team that wasn't, you know, that really wasn't trying to win it all.
Right.
You know, I really went to Long Beach Poly High School for football. And, you know, I played baseball. That was the secondary thing. But football was my main game. That's the reason why I went to Long Beach Poly. So
gotcha.
That was definitely one of the number one things. And you know, it's crazy too, but like I told you, and I told you before, basketball was probably my best sport too. You know,
right.
I could dunk. I was dunking the basketball probably in junior high school. So
well, I only made it to 5'11", so I can imagine what it would be like trying to stop a 6'8" slam dunk. That would be a challenge in and of itself for sure.
You know, Stacey, in junior high school, I was 6'4". So
oh my God! Wow, that you had some growth spurts without any question.
I had some growth. Yes.
Let me ask you something. Now, I was trying to do the math, and I probably got this screwed up, but you've been out of professional sports. Is it approaching 20 years? Has it been about that long?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, in the 20 years that you've been out of professional sports, Kenny, what changes have you noticed, in the business? In other words, is there anything dramatically different from the time that you were in it and got out to where it is now?
Which sport? Baseball, football?
Both, either one.
Okay. Baseball, they make a lot more money.
Okay, right. That makes sense.
So that's one thing. You make a lot more money. Football, you make a lot more money. It's just more guaranteed. I think back then was like 60% of your contract was guaranteed. And now it's probably about 70, 75, and it's more guaranteed money now.
Right.
So they give you money up front now. That's the only difference. But the sports game, as far as the toughness in football, that halo rule, you can't hit the quarterback. It's more like flag football now. So that's,
Right.
it's a little different from when I played.
Well, I think they're trying to make the rules a lot safer. I mean, not too long. Oh yeah. Well, I remember not too long ago, the whole issue of concussions from football. I mean, became a very, very sought after thing as far as information about that. I know the CDC launched a study, and the injuries to young players was just really phenomenal. I mean, there were a lot of people getting hurt, and I know they made some radical changes in the helmet designs and so forth, which obviously helped a lot. But rules, of course, they're always, when you watch professional football, and particularly, I guess, when it's televised and you've got the instant replays, and you see what they call some cheap shots, which basically means you're kind of using your helmet as a kind of a weapon, which there's, in my judgment, there's no reason why that should exist. There's no room for that in any sport, and
that's great. It's great they did that.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you think of some of the greats that their careers were cut short because of injuries, like a real good friend of mine is Dan Dierdorf. He played with the St. Louis Cardinals.
I know that is.
Yeah, and he was a CBS announcer, and I got to tell you, he's a real big guy. He's probably about 6'5", 6'6", I would imagine, and probably in his playing days, he was just under 300 pounds. He was probably about 280 or 290. One mean son of a gun, but he had so many knee injuries that got to the point to where he said, "Look, if they'd have paid me $1 billion, I couldn't play anymore." He said, "One more severe hit, and I'd have been in a wheelchair for the rest of my life." But a lot of that he equated to what he called, the cheap shots. A lot of times guys would take, just and the pile-on and the intentional injuries. And, it's football. Now, listen, we're coming up here pretty quick where I'm going to start getting some lights flashed at me. I noticed from having read your bio, did I see something in there about wrestling too? Were you involved in wrestling?
Yes, I did.
Okay, well, tell us about that. I'm dying to hear about it.
Yeah, I trained. I was going into the WWE at the time. So what I did was I was training with Davey Boy Smith, old wrestler back in the days.
Yep.
Davey Boy Smith. I was training out of Newport Beach, and I had met him when I was playing in the XFL because I played in the XFL too. So this wasn't the inaugural season of the XFL. This is Vince McMahon when he had the XFL, not Dwayne Johnson. But the new one is Dwayne Johnson. The old one is Vince McMahon. So I met him after the football season. He says, "Hey, you would think about wrestling because you got a lot of pizzazz." He told me, gave me a promo, and I cut a promo, and he was like, "Oh my God, this guy is amazing," because I can speak it. So what ended up happening is he taught me how to wrestle, and I started doing a little bit of wrestling. But a little couple conflicts came, and then that's when I met Bubba Smith. Bubba Smith kind of guided me to acting.
Just to be clear, let's maybe tell some of our maybe not so old listeners. Bubba Smith was an incredible. He was phenomenal, but now also his career extended. His profession, I should say, extended beyond football, and he became an incredible spokesman, actor, and also correct, right? I mean, he was, as I recall, he was in Police Academy, right?
Correct. Yeah, Police Academy.
And so you had mentioned, I guess, in one of our prior conversations, that he was really a mentor for you. That he, kind of. He was kind of that level of attainment that you wanted to reach. Explain that a little bit.
Absolutely. Okay. And then when I met Bubba when I was playing ball. I met him when I was playing at Ohio State, and Ohio State was playing the alumni. we was playing the annual game against Michigan State. It was their homecoming. So he came on the sidelines one day, and he happened to be on the sidelines. He looked at me, and I looked at him, and I shook his hand because I knew who he was. He was doing the Police Academy movies at that time.
Right.
So, to make a long story short, I talked to him there, and then when we left there, I was down at the Western Theater. He went to a theater because, Bubba actually loves theater too. So I was doing a theater. I was in the theater the same night. So, I took theater at Ohio State. So I was at the Western Theater. He came into Western Theater. He said, "What the heck, man? You play football? You doing this too?" And I said, "Yes." So he was like, to make a long story short, he kind of guided me. That's how I ended up meeting Jerry Sherlock and James Lipton. I met both of them through him.
Right.
And he says, "I'm going to introduce you to a guy." So I was in New York. I had to go down to New York. He was at the time in New York Film Academy, Jerry Sherlock. And I end up sitting down, and he said, "Hey, come take the class." He was he was downtown in the Brooklyn area, and I took his class. And this is how I kind of the journey, because of acting, he guided me to where I needed to be so I could learn the business. And I didn't use it at the time, but then make a long story short, I'm at Ohio State, and James Lipton's brother-in-law teaches at Ohio State. So
okay,
he was one of my professors at Ohio State. So he told me, "Well, this guy named James Lipton." He said he teaches at the Pace University program, at Pace University. So he introduced me to him. So I got a chance to meet both of these guys sort of like at the same time, 3 months apart. I took 3 months of his classes. And, the great part about James never even charged me for a fee, because I was already in the program at the theater program in college. And he says, "Man, all you got to do is help around the theater, clean up around theater," which was great, because I got a chance to see some of the greats of the game. I'm talking about from Ruby Dee all the way down to Ozzie Davis, all the way to classic actors from Samuel Jackson to Will Smith. He interviewed everybody. So he opened up the gates to everything, but it was all Bubba Smith. Bubba Smith was, he's very articulate, and he was the perfect guy that I could meet. He's not only a big guy too, because he's 6'7", probably about 250, 262. So he was like a dad figure to me, because he did what I was trying to do.
Right.
Everything he did, I wanted to do. So I sit down and said, it was like talking to Rocky and Mickey. He's the teacher.
Cut me, Miss, cut me.
And I was the follower. Yeah, seriously. And he introduced me to some, and to make it long, not to get long-winded with it, but I met Alex Karrasch. You know who Alex Karrasch is?
Sure.
All these guys I'm talking about are all football players just like me. I met Frank McRae from he worked with Stallone in the prison movie, and the bigger guy. He's the big guy. He was in 48 Hours, I believe. He's Last Man Standing. The big guy that always talks really loud. He talks crazy. He's a football player. He played the Chicago Bears. He introduced me to Bernie Casey, Kansas City Chief.
Kelly, we're coming up. We're about 30 seconds from our hard break, but just real quick, I want to set it up for our next half hour. When we come back, I want you to go into what was your metamorphosis, your transition from being a professional athlete into acting and your voiceover work. And I think our listeners will be very interested to know. Now, you alluded to some things, your dues you paid at the Actors Studio and so forth. But I think that you're making that comparison between Alex Karrasch and Bubba. I think that's very important. So listen, everybody stick around for the next half hour with Kenny Ray Powell. And we'll see you. We'll hear from you in just a few minutes.
Do you want to become a radio show host, or do you want to create a radio show? Well, Dr. Stan Fine can help you to have your own radio show and put you on 100 cities daily across the U.S. And you can immediately start recording from a live radio studio. As a radio industry veteran, Dr. Stan Fine has 12 years of experience and has produced and hosted over 1,000 radio shows with over 10 million listeners. Dr. Stan Fine knows how to make this happen for you. He's a pro, and he can turn your dreams into a reality. Dr. Stan Fine will help you with everything from learning how to promote your show, develop a host persona, interview techniques, market your show on social media, teach you how to get guests and sponsors, and more. Dr. Stan Fine can put you on the air nationwide daily to 100 cities. If you're interested in making your dream come true, if you want to see how it all works, then give Dr. Stan Fine a call at 314-710-8413. That's 314-710-8413. You've got nothing to lose, and Dr. Stan Fine can help make your nationwide radio dreams come true. If you're looking for a new informative health and lifestyle show to gain knowledge and inspiration to help guide your journey to think, work, and live more powerfully, then you need to listen to Sage Advice with Melissa. Now, whether you're trying to improve your life from a mental, physical, or spiritual journey, Sage Advice with Melissa Coleman, CEO of Sage Skincare, delivers weekly advice from industry experts to provide you with insightful suggestions to allow you to thrive with a better quality of life. Melissa's mission? To guide you through the uncharted waters of health and wellness and to give you a voice to help improve your life. So be sure to tune in to Melissa. You'll be glad you did.
Hey, listeners, saying thanks to your customers is nice and polite, but expressing your gratitude in memorable and ongoing ways can boost your business. At Promo Experts LLC, we exceed our customers' expectations. For over 20 years, our product knowledge and experience has helped them with their marketing initiatives and trade show graphics. We are happy to put that experience to work for you. Quality products, great customer service, and prices are our number one priority. We work with you to find unique, creative, and new ideas that fit your image and expectations, helping you build strong relationships with your customers. When you select Promo Experts as your marketing partner, we help you to see more than the big picture. For more information about this exciting opportunity, contact Diane Carson, President, at 636-458-5241. That's 636-458-5241. Let Promo Experts help you to move your business brand beyond the bland. Have you always wanted to write your own book but don't know where to start? Publishing Concepts, a publishing company located right here in St. Louis, offers everything from consulting, book printing, copyrights, ISBNs and barcodes, print book layout, ebook and iBook layout, graphic design, cover design, ghostwriting, typing and editing, distribution, marketing, and more for an affordable price. Visit publishingconceptsllc.com or just Google Publishing Concepts to get started today, or call 314-781-8880. That's 314-781-8880. Publishing Concepts. We help you sell more books.
In today's economy, there are more people looking to buy and sell businesses than ever before. When a company owner needs to sell their business, they can't just stick a for sale sign in the window. They need the assistance of a business broker to locate and vet potential buyers. On the other side, buyers rely on the broker to help facilitate the process of evaluating potential businesses and franchises for sale. A Transworld Business Advisor is the solution for both scenarios. Transworld Business Advisors focus on three core concepts: business brokerage, franchise consulting, and franchise development. Transworld has specialized in the sale of business and commercial real estate. Today, Transworld Business Advisors is a global network of brokers offering a turnkey solution for those that want to build a solid business and future for themselves while maintaining a balanced quality of life. With our comprehensive training program, full marketing support, and local field support, you won't have to start from scratch. Our trained experts and members will help you every step of the way. Transworld Business Advisors has 40 plus years of experience, 10,000 plus businesses sold, and 600 plus brokers, 250 offices worldwide. For a free initial consultation, call Charlie Scarlett, business broker, or Billy Rowland, Business Broker at 636-400-6100. Again, that's Charlie Scarlett, Business Broker, or Billy Rowland, Business Broker, at 636-400-6100.
Many small businesses do not have a marketing manager. In many cases, it is the company owner that drives marketing and sales efforts with the gut instinct to survive. Even when small businesses do have a marketing manager, though, many of them are trying to navigate through the complex sales and marketing landscape with little to no success or budget.
How to Promote Your Business with Limited Money is a general purpose, how-to-business book written for business owners and marketing professionals by business owners Dr. Stan Fine and Joseph W. Clote. This guide is not intended to be read as a front-to-back chapter book and rather serves as a quick reference guide. Refer to this book as you need specific information and skip around as needed.
Promoting your business with limited money is one challenging feat, but there are unlimited ideas you can apply to achieve objectives you pre-establish. So, put on your marketing hat and let's take action to start showing your prospects the value your business delivers.
A little you need to know about Dr. Stan Fine. During his 60-year career, Dr. Fine has become an authority on sales and marketing business development issues. His presentations have made him much in demand as a speaker and seminar leader. He has taught business development topics at numerous universities across the United States and has conducted over 500 sales and management seminars. Some of Dr. Fine's credentials in corporate America are currently Dr. Fine serves as a co-host of the To Your Business radio show on KRH 92.9 FM in St. Louis and a co-host of Nationwide Daily Radio Show on My Genre Radio Network on the Zeno Media platform. In 100 cities, he is also on a daily TV show on the Valuable TV and the Real TV networks. Go and get a copy of How to Promote Your Business with Limited Money today.
To purchase your copy of How to Promote Your Business with Limited Money, go to It's Your Business website at www.itsyourbusinessradio.com.
Welcome back to Movies and More. I'm Stacy Hovis, and we've been talking with Kenny Ray Powell. Kenny was talking to us just before the break about the transition from professional athlete over into acting and television and voiceover work. So Kenny, I guess what we've got to ask is, at some point you caught the acting bug. You wanted to be out there in front of the audience, either on camera, on stage, or whatever. Can you tell us at what point in your life you kind of made that decision that sooner or later you would be doing that?
Oh, well, I transitioned. The transition was, it wasn't easy, because you have to, the business of Hollywood is the strategic business. You need to listen more. It's a learning process. You have to learn how to deliver a script. You got to know how to look at the lines. You got to know how to do something. So that takes school. So at the end of the day, and then you have to fit this big body into the film. So sometimes most actors, we know, are 5'3", 5'4", 5'5", but you see this big actor, and you got to fit that actor into the acting business. And then that was the tough part of transitioning over, because I can read a line, but do you fit? Am I too big to be in these scenes? Those are the number one things that young actors and actresses want to be an actor, inspired to be an actor, have to learn. So it's little things.
Right. Now, I think you told me at one point you actually had an opportunity when you were in school to perform. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Coming through school, from high school all the way up, I've been taking drama since I was probably in junior high school, elementary.
Okay.
So, and then the thing was, I didn't know until my mom reminded me, as she sees me now going into, being in the business, she said, well, you always used to act all the time. You always took drama classes all the time. And I never understood it. So she was like, so it started as a young kid. I took drama in high school, drama in junior high school, all the way back, all the way up. And to transition into this in Hollywood, it was, it's just basically, like I said, I came through a film analysis class. I had an opportunity where I got a scholarship out of high school to go to a film school at USC. I had a scholarship offered to me. because I did this short film, and they loved it, and they offered me a scholarship. But I was in a transition where I played baseball, football, and I had to take trips in football, baseball. So what do? You're going to go football, baseball, what you do, and I chose sports. And then the second chance was to come back and finally live a dream out, and that's being an actor.
Right. Well, so really what you're saying is that really at an early age, you pretty much either by chance or by design, you were really drifting towards an acting career eventually. It's early dramatic stuff, right? Correct?
Yeah, and also, when you do play sports, you interview. So you do commercial. I had a Nike contract. I had Champion contract. I had contracts, and you have to do commercial. So, and most people see a person that can articulate, you can talk on camera, you're going to get an opportunity. So this is how we got to the point. I mean, I can tell you a short how I got into it.
Please.
I'm going to tell you how I got started. A buddy of mine came to my place. He says, "Hey, they got a Asahi beer commercial."
What beer? I'm sorry, what kind?
Asahi beer.
Asahi, okay, all right, commercial. Got it, right.
Asahi. It's a Japanese beer.
Right.
It's Asahi.
Somehow I didn't think it was German. I was pretty sure it was German. Okay.
Yeah, it's Japanese.
Okay.
So it was a baseball commercial.
Right.
So, of course, I played baseball. They probably auditioned about 250 to 260 people, maybe 2,000. The Japanese were out there. They came in. I went to the audition, put my baseball uniform. Matter of fact, I didn't get my baseball uniform on. They just told me to take a swing, and they threw a ball, and I hit the ball in Santa Monica, way across the street in Santa Monica Boulevard. And make a long story short, I went back to sit down, and the guy says, "You're coming to this commercial. I want you to come in. Come back to the audition." I just had signed with the agent, and the agent says, "Well, you booked the gig." I said, "What? I didn't even do anything." He said, "No, they wanted you because in the commercial they had Daisuke Matsuzaka that played with the Boston Red Sox. He was the pitcher with the Boston Red Sox at the time, and he was sponsored by Superdry. So they casted me because it's David and Goliath. You see, you understand now?
Yes.
So that's my first introduction to commercial, and that's how I got my first commercial. They flew me out to Japan. And I did a commercial here at Sony Productions, right here, Sony Studios down in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
And that's my first introduction was commercial, and it was a Asahi beer commercial.
Right. Well, the thing of it is, just like you said, even if you're a professional athlete, you're still putting yourself out there, your image and your ability in front of a whole bunch of people at one time. So I guess the transition from the professional athlete to commercial or acting was really kind of a natural progression. I mean, you were kind of preparing for it way back in the day, but I don't want to say it wasn't that big of a thing because God knows you paid your dues with the Actor Studio and so forth. Now, you mentioned Mr. Lipton, okay? If we go back in time, and I'm talking about this back to like the 50s, there were people like Marilyn Monroe, and I believe,
of course.
She was very much influenced by the Actors Studio, and of course Marlon Brando. He was a product of that. I think James Dean, if memory serves.
Yeah.
So those were some pretty substantial players in the game at that time, or that came out of that. But they all took with them from that experience things that just propelled them and to really stardom is what it amounts to. So that really had to be just an incredible experience with that history of that Actor Studio, correct?
He was the best teacher. I mean, slowed me down. He was one of the best teachers to teach the business. And if I had anybody that could teach the business, that had me transition, because he always used to say, "I just don't want you to be a big guy in the business. I want you to be a good actor and just be a big guy." Like he said, the biggest thing that I always use in my transition is, I'm an actor that just happened to play sports.
Right.
You
Right.
get it?
Exactly.
That's because I believe in the acting part first.
Right.
So that's the part. It didn't mean much about being a big guy. He used to always explain that to me, that we don't want you just to be a big guy, because they can grab you and put you in big guy roles and just you get beat up by the lead man all the time. He said, but when you can deliver a line, that's when the thing makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And he helped me make a lot of sense.
Right. Right. You're, because of your size, Kenny, have you found that certain casting directors look at your size, and of course you're African American, and very easily you can fall into the stereotypical roles of street stuff and just all like that. But you've actually, I saw one take out.
I haven't played street.
Okay, well, there you go. But you also played a police officer, correct?
Yes, I will play street roles. I haven't played one yet.
Okay.
Comedy. They haven't put me in no typical roles because, like I told you, it's the acting part that really gave opportunity. The teaching of acting, the timing. My first bodyguard role was me being big as Ace in the Christmas Miracle, which you can watch on Amazon Prime right now.
Sure.
That's my big guy role, playing a bodyguard. I've always played professional roles. I played a host in Stand the Man. I was the restaurant host, a celebrity restaurant host in Stand the Man, a comedy. And I played, let's see what else I played. I played a cargo freight guy protecting money in Garlic and Gunpowder. And that was not a stereotypical
Now,
role.
that was a comedy, right? That was a comedy film?
That was a screwball comedy.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right.
And I played an action horror, and I played a warden of a prison, and that's Victor Galan, Captain Victor Galan, in my movie Death House.
Sure.
So that's with Tony Todd.
Right.
And, and all the greats, that was in the horror greats. I worked with Dee Wallace from E.T.
Yep. Now, you were also in a movie, we were talking about Ace and the Christmas Miracle. And typically we always think of holiday movies, and of course, naturally, the one that comes to mind, It's a Wonderful Life, the old Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed thing or whatever. Tell us a little bit about that genre of movie as it applies to your ability and your size, and how you fit, or maybe it were crafted into the Christmas holiday genre film.
Okay. Yes. Well, the writer was Robin DiMartino, that movie. And it was a Lionsgate film, it was a home movie, Lionsgate film. So what they did was, I was the bodyguard of Big Freddie. He was because one of the guys want to borrow money. So he's borrowing money from my boss. And I'm checking him in.
So your boss was a loan shark.
Correct.
And you issue had a Shylock.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Exactly. So it's kid style movie, but at the end of the day, it was basically about him returning the $25,000 in the short way, and he was going to send me out there. And you got this little guy, you got this big guy, and it's the transition of little to big always really work on camera. So cinematically, it works really good. I worked with the gentleman a few times, and we worked in Stand the Man together. Funny scene, because I'm the biggest guy you ever seen. He's the littlest guy.
So Mutt and Jeff.
Yeah.
Big guy, little guy.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. Big guy, little guy. Always works good. You just got to have timing, and you got to help guys, And like I said, it's funny, but that's just exactly what, the audience wanted. So,
Well, I remember a movie of a few years back with Burt Reynolds and Pat McCormick, who had been the head writer of The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson for a whole bunch of years. I knew Pat very, very well. And he played in Smoking the Bandit, and he was big as, and Paul Williams, who I think is about 5'4" with heels, he played the little guy.
Yeah.
So you had this, this great contrast between heights. So what you're talking about is almost the same thing. You had that identifiable contrast, right?
Yes, exactly. Like Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger.
Precisely.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, it
and
works.
the movie Twins, remember that?
Yeah, Twins. That's Twins.
That
Yeah,
was
it
an
works.
incredible movie. I loved it, you know. And we were talking about that the other day. Only because you brought up Arnold, I'm going to bring something to your attention. Now you're in LA. I'm not quite sure where Arnold was at. Someone said Beverly Hills. I can't imagine this, but they said that's where it was. But we actually saw the Arnold out in the middle of the street with 2 barrels of hot asphalt filling up potholes. Now, apparently, he had been complaining to the street department. That, if you know anything about it, please. I mean, I'm just going from the news reports.
That's the Beverly. Yeah, he does that.
He actually did that. Okay. Well, I mean, so it wasn't like a promo thing. I mean, he kind of had an attitude. He said, if y'all are going to come out here and fix these damn potholes, I will. And he did it. He rolled up his sleeves. He got a couple of guys.
He did it.
Is that what happened?
That's 100% true. He actually did it. That's
Wow.
exactly what he does. That's what he does. It's to get people to do something in Los Angeles.
I
Either
see.
you're going to give them to do it, or they're not going to do it. So he took it upon himself to do it because he's seen it done.
Right. Well, I mean, it was it was just kind of funny. I mean, here's this action hero of action heroes that's out in the middle of a side street off of, I guess, Sunset or wherever, and he's tapping down hot asphalt full of potholes.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, you know what? That guy is all right in my book because, you can only pick up the phone and complain so many times, and then finally, you take the bull by the horns and you do it, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you an even better story than that. I remember
Go ahead.
When the pandemic was around, he was working out in the old Gold's Gym. He's in Gold's Gym. He had to wear a mask. He said, "Man, I'm too old to wear a mask." And he left the gym. And he's the World Gym and Gold's Gym is Arnold Schwarzenegger's stomping ground. He's the big fish of Gold's Gym.
Right.
He wanted to put it on the map.
Yeah.
And he just said, "No, I'm leaving."
Wow.
And I just, yeah.
Well, he he pretty much set a trend at that point. I mean, so much of that stuff, as we know now, procedures that were put forth for the anti-pandemic kind of strategy, we realize now maybe it's not the best things that could happen. But one thing is about Arnold, I mean, you may love him or hate him or you don't have opinion at all, but he just comes across as a guy that's going to tell you like it is, good, bad, or indifferent. And I could just see him walking the heck out of a gym. I could see that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's a trailblazer.
Right.
He's definitely a trailblazer, and setting the standard for the action guys. And, that's where I'm headed now. I've been training a lot for us. I don't know if you want to get into that just yet.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead. Please.
I'm actually training and, doing a lot of guns in the military tactical section now.
Yes,
So that's the next thing that I'm building to.
Explain to our audience exactly what that is. In other words, that's a prep course for you pretty much, it's realistic, but you're going to bring that knowledge and experience to the screen. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're doing all the tactical stuff. Like if you see the movies, American Sniper.
Right.
Those guys had to train. You have to train for those films. You have to train 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. If you want to go on NCIS, the NCIS TV series, you have to train. They won't bring you on the set until you learn how to basically handle a weapon. You got to unload a weapon, take a weapon out. But of course, on set you're using blanks, because that debacle that happened down in New Mexico. But
that Alex Baldwin thing. Yeah, we were talking about that here just real quick. We were talking about that the other day with a retired female police officer from, I believe it was up in Oregon that she was from. And she is now a safety consultant on film sets. And she is a weapons, she called it a weapons wrangler, I believe the term was she used. And
Yeah, weapons
She
wrangler.
just
She
could
handles
not
the six shots.
understand at all how that very, very tragic incident occurred that took that wonderful young lady's life. Just
Absolutely.
horrible. But part of what you're talking about, Kenny, is not only the safety, but the realism that you have to bring to a certain role, like you mentioned, NCIS. I mean, there's not a week that goes by that they're not using a weapon or some kind of
Correct.
martial arts or
Correct.
whatever. And that's really what you're talking about, correct?
Training, correct.
Training, yes.
That's
Okay.
exactly right. Learning exactly how to move to make this more just as realistic. It's make believe, but we want to make it realistic as possible. So you have to go in and train and learn how to take a weapon out, know how to clear a weapon, know how to show the cast, because most people don't handle a weapon out there. So they're going to be terrified after these situations happen. So you have to make sure everybody's comfortable with the gun out there and safety is first. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like you talked about the young lady. She's a police weapons specialist.
Yes.
You need that. That's why I'm glad I learned from Green Berets. I've learned from my trainers are Green Berets. My trainers are Navy SEALs.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot in water, out water.
Right.
Full range. I'm talking about full gear, full camo gear, everything. You wearing everything. You got a bulletproof vest. I got a bulletproof vest on. You actually shooting live fire. So you can't muzzle people. You can't point a gun at people. So this is serious business. So, and
Right.
It teaches you how to, when you go out to the film business, it makes it crisp and it makes it easy. So you're going to have guys that do military, specialize in military out there. Like she's a trainer. She's going to load the gun up for you and tell you if the fire goes in, the gun is hot. So everybody pay attention. It's a blank, but the powder comes out, but it's still, you can be hurt.
Sure.
And but that's the safety part about handling weapons from AKs to, you handle every weapon.
Sure.
ARs,
Sure.
you handle.
Okay, in the under 3 minutes we have left, I want you to delve into just a little bit of your experience as a voice over actor. I guess that probably pertains to not only let's say commercials, but some animation. Can you briefly explain what that's all about?
Oh yeah. Basically, that's what the part I'm going into heavy now. So, animation, that's the best part because you make your voice clear. You can put expression. Like when you're behind the camera, you can make more expression. In front of the camera, you can't do that because you can't make jerk reactions because guess what? The camera gets blurry.
Right.
So if you move really fast in the camera, it's going to get blurry on you. So, but when you're doing voiceover, you can be as loud and you can be as charismatic and you're playing multiple characters. You can be as loud as you want. And with expression, I'm literally spitting, you can spit on the camera. It's literally because they want to bring the best out of you. And that's what the avatars, like you see on Avatar and all the rest of them, those characters. And you get trained. If you're a good camera actor, you can be a good voiceover actor. That's just the way it works.
Right, right.
And my voice, they always tell me my voice is, usually they don't put the voice with the face because some guys are small and they have a deep, deep voice. I'm a big guy and it fits the voice, so I can put my face with the voice. So
Ken, we've got a minute left. If you will, please, if there's like a website that someone can go to, someone from our audience can log on to about your stuff, or if you have an email address, can you give that to us very quickly, please?
Well, you can find me on all social media. I don't care. Instagram is Kenny Ray Powell, my name. And my IMDb is imdbme.me /Kenny Ray Powell. All my social media is Kenny Ray Powell.
Okay. Well, Kenny, we want to thank you very much for being our guest today on Movies and More. It's a delight to talk to you. And you've shared some incredible experiences that I think we'll think about for a long time. So until next time on Movies and More, I'm Stacy Hovis. And please don't forget to take Mama to church on Sunday. Y'all have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Kenny.
at kxok.org.